Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Cooking with the Cripple. I'm your host, the Cripple. Today we're going to be making rotini spaghetti, and we're going to be making it with a garlic pasta sauce. I know in the beginning I made what's it called? Alfredo sauce, but this one's the red sauce, the one that everybody knows. So first, you want to start out by preheating your oven and getting the water boiling. And next, you want to get a very sharp knife. This is my sharpest knife that I have. But the reason why you want a sharp knife when cutting vegetables and whatnot is because you want slicing. You want slicing versus crushing. And you're going to take about 2 dozen tomatoes, or cherry tomatoes. Sorry, I had to think of the name. But you're going to take cherry tomatoes and let's see if we can't put you down a little bit more. There we go. You're going to always be safe with the knife. So I'm holding it like this. Like, I know you can't see that, but I'm holding it like this, and then I'm inserting the knife in between my fingers, and then I'm slicing it long ways. And the reason why you want to do this is because I have a cookie sheet set up so that way I'm going to put it cut side up. I'm going to put as many tomatoes as I can cut side up, and you're going to set your oven for 450, and you're going to oven roast these, and it brings out a separate flavor than just putting them in the sauce. And I really wanted to incorporate these because I love cherry onions, or not cherry onions. They do make there is cherry onions, but I meant cherry tomatoes. But I love cherry tomatoes. I used to eat them like grapes, to be totally honest. Oh, this one does not want to cut for some reason. But anyways, this is just like a childhood favorite of mine. Like, I wouldn't eat spinach very much when I was a kid because it was a texture thing. Spinach was too stringy for me when I was a kid. But you give me a bowl of cherry tomatoes and I'll eat them like candy. But anyways, I will text you guys. Oh, that's what I forgot to mention. In the sauce, we're going to be adding shrimp. Because if you guys remember, I added beef to the sauce and kind of made it its own unique thing. Well, this time we're going to be adding shrimp. I know that it's like, really, red sauce and shrimp? I'm experimenting. This is just a big experiment for me, but I'm having fun with it. So, we'll see you guys when I am done cutting these up. And, oh, another reminder. Always make sure to check your product. Whatever you're cooking or making, you always want to check to make sure that it's as fresh as it can be. Because I had a lot of veins in this bag. So you always want to be thorough when you're making something. Whether it's as simple as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or as complicated as a souffle. I've never made a souffle. And I don't know, in the near future, I don't think I'm going to try. But we'll see you guys in a hot minute. Okay, so we've got the tomatoes all done, and my alarm for my preheating just went off, so we're going to put these in the oven. I'm going to cut the camera off because it's much easier to work when you have two hands, but we'll see you guys, and I'll show you guys as we progress what you're looking for. And this is actually very new to me, the oven roasting. So we'll see how it goes. We'll go on this adventure together. So I'll see you in a minute when I get these in the oven. Okay, now that our tomatoes are in the oven, we're going to take our shrimp. And I just want to kind of make them a smaller, more manageable bite. Like, it doesn't really matter about the size, so I'm not really going to follow any pattern for cutting. But like I said, you always want to make sure everything is clean, and so that's why I thoroughly washed the cutting board but I might do a video for some people who don't know how to do hand washing. I might do one video showing you how to wash each utensil, and then you'll know. But anyways, I've got about, I'd say, a pound of shrimp right here, and we're just this is gonna be the beef essentially to this sauce. But anyways, this is, I'm just slicing it into, I'm saying anyways way too much. But anyways, I'm sorry, but that was funny. But yeah, you wanna just make them more manageable. Sometimes I'm actually gonna mix it up. I'm not gonna make them the same size, so yeah. Oh, ew, nasty, nastiness. Anyways, I'll get that off camera. But anyways, I'll see you guys when I get this all done. We're gonna start prepping the sauce essentially, because the last thing I want to put into the sauce is the cherry tomatoes. The first thing I'm gonna put in is the shrimp, and I'm gonna get them nice and browned, and then add the sauce in and let those flavors kind of mingle. And then I'm going to add in the cherry tomatoes, and then they should be done by the same time as the noodles. So, yeah. But I'll see you guys when I get finished, and we'll work on that together. See ya for a minute. Oh, also, I will be re-uploading my specialty cookies, the video that was upside down. I don't know why that happened, because my camera has never made that mistake before. So, for people who actually want to know how to do it without flipping their camera or their phone / computer upside down, I will be re-uploading a video showing you how to make those cookies. So don't worry. But they're really good cookies, so I might even make them today. But we'll see. Okay, so we're down to our final shrimp, and the tomatoes are looking pretty good. They've swelled up a little bit, but that's to be expected when you cook something in the microwave that has juices and air inside of it and stuff like that. It's going to swell up a little bit, but don't be alarmed, it's okay. So, I've got my shrimp right here. We're going to, I think the technical term for this is pan fry it, but I don't know. So we're going to fry this up, and then we're going to dump in the sauce. There we go. Dump in the sauce. Oh, and I almost forgot this little guy, but I've got a jalapeno here for near the end. So actually, I'm going to throw that in with the shrimp. So, this should be fun. So, we'll see you guys when I'm ready to do that. But as you can see, I've sliced up the jalapeno, and it was actually a lot harder than the shrimp, to be honest. I don't know why my knife is getting so dull. I haven't used it that much, but that's okay. But anyways, you always want to practice safe cutting practices when you're in the kitchen. Well, anywhere really that you're working with a knife. But I've already told you guys this. But we're going to head over to the stove, and we're going to start making the base for the I want to call it a shrimp cocktail kind of garlic sauce, because it's got shrimp in it. Why not? I can do what I want. This is my show. But we'll see you guys over there. There we go. We're all set up and ready to go. But I just got to wait for this to heat up. But I know I've touched base on this before, but I'm only using the tip of the jalapeno for... Jeez, that's one way to say it. But I'm only using the tip of the jalapeno for the sauce because I don't want this to be over spicy for my neighbors, because you never want... And sorry, I spilled some water on the stove, that's why you hear sizzling. But you never want to assume somebody's heat threshold, like the amount of heat they can take. But, ooh, that's starting to look nice. But you never want to assume somebody's heat threshold, because your heat threshold might be different than theirs. Like, they can only handle, let's say, Frank's Red Hot sauce. I know it sounds hot, but it's really not. And you're used to a habanero, or they're at a green pepper level, and you're at a ghost pepper level. But anyways, I will see you guys when this gets nice and hot. I don't want to touch it because it might be hot already, but anyways, we'll see you guys in a minute. I just threw it in, and we're going to let this kind of fry around and see how it turns out. This is actually my first time cooking shrimp on the stovetop, meaning without oil. Usually I deep fry them, and that's the one I'm most comfortable with, but I like to expand my horizons. But yeah. Let's see how this is turning out. Oh, and I also threw in the jalapeno. I do not like how I'm saying that word. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. But I give these about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. Honestly, with my style of cooking, you really want to just pay attention, and I don't set timers. I mean, if it gives me directions and says, okay, cook it for this long, I know a time base, but I don't usually use timers. Like, with the tomatoes I've got in the oven, I'm not going to use a timer. I'm just going to visually check them out and go off of the description I was given by somebody else, by my mother, because she does this all the time, so she would know. Oh, that smells so good. You guys have no idea. I wish they had smell-o-vision. But, yeah, we'll see you guys when these are nice and done and the sauce is ready to be prepped. Okay, so it's time. I've let these cook for about, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I couldn't really tell you. I didn't pay attention to the time. But I'm boosting my heat down on my spaghetti, and I've also boosted my heat down on my shrimp, because it's time. These synced up perfectly. It's time to add in the rotini and the sauce. So I'm hoping that the easy. But I'm hoping that the tomatoes are done by now. But also a tip. I don't know if I went over this in my other spaghetti. There we go. That's about two-fourths. But I don't know if I went over this in my other spaghetti one. But you never want to let spaghetti soak. You want to get it up to a boil, get it in there, cook it, and get it out. Because when you let it soak, then it becomes sticky and just not pleasant. So never let the noodles, whatever you happen to be cooking, never let them sit in the water for hours and hours and hours. I know it's not hours, but it might as well be by how sticky and not pleasant they get. But anyways, this is turning out fantastically. I may have let the shrimp go a little longer than it needed to, but that's okay. I'm still learning. And don't be hard on yourself if you make mistakes when you're cooking, because it's a learning process. You're not going to be an expert at a new recipe that you've just tried out. So don't be hard on yourself. Like my specialty cookies, I've been making them for about a year now, and I'm almost at the point where I can do it by memory. But this is a brand new recipe for me. I'm going to add in more sauce. And just top that off. Why don't we? And then you always want to make sure that you either wash out or get rid of the utensils you use, because you never want to have food stuff laying around, because that's how you get those nasty fruit flies and stuff like that. But another thing I failed to mention, but hopefully you know to do this, but you always want to make sure to stir, because you get burning and it gets stuck to the bottom and it's just not pleasant. So always make sure to stir. Like, you can walk away from this dish now, but make sure to come back and stir it. But anyways, I'm gonna let this kind of meld together, and actually let's check on the tomatoes. I almost forgot about the tomatoes. Okay, the tomatoes are done. And always be safe, kids. Always be safe. Woo! That was kind of scary. But make sure when you're handling stove stuff, protection, bam, protection. Now I like these because they come up to basically my elbow. They're about halfway from my elbow to my wrist. But, they're a little burnt, but that's okay. And the reason why I'm just putting them on top of the pan is because they're going straight into the pan, so I don't really need to move them that far. So we'll see you guys when I've got all the ingredients done and melded together, or they're starting to meld. But now that I've got my my tomatoes all mixed in, you kind of just want to fold the mixture together, because these tomatoes, yeah, they're blackened, but they're still kind of mushy, which is a good thing. It means that the flavors were released, and it just means their goodness is in the sauce where it belongs. So you always want to fold, which looks something like this. You pick it up, and I'm exaggerating it so you can see it, but you pick it up, and you basically just put it back down. Pick it up, put it back down. But I love this idea. I'm so glad my mother showed me this idea for roasting the tomatoes, because they have a very, I don't want to say robust, because I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, and my mother taught me never to use a word in a sentence if I don't know what it means, but it's got a very bold flavor, and I love that flavor. I'm definitely doing this recipe again. But we will see you guys when it's time to check the rotini, and in the meantime, I've got to clean up. Alrighty, so it's time to strain the noodles, because like I said, you don't want these soaking and soaking and soaking. So we're going to move the sauce out of the way. It can cool for a minute. And this is only for my non-able-bodied viewers. You always want to make sure to clear a path. Well, actually, it's for everybody, because you always want to make sure to clear a path towards wherever you're heading when it comes to cooking. So turn that off. I think the sauce is good enough. And by good enough, I mean as perfect as I'm going to make it. But you just want to scoot this along, and I'll see you guys in a minute. I'm just showing you guys how I do things. But yeah, I'll see you guys when I get this all strained and done. Another thing is when you're pouring hot contents, I need to focus for a little bit, so I'll tell you in a minute. But when you're pouring hot contents, it could be soup, it could be whatever. when you're pouring hot stuff into a strainer or wherever, you always want to pour away from yourself. So that way it minimizes the damage or the risk of damage. But I'm going to run these under a cool bath-ish kind of. And then we're going to plate and eat. But we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. But here we go, we're plated, and as you guys can tell, it looks really good. This is my neighbor that I'm always cooking for, but I'm not complaining, it's just, I'm always referencing you when I'm cooking. It's like, oh, I'm cooking for my neighbor, and now you guys finally, oh, well, no, you don't have a face, because I cut it off. But, there we go. But,
very good.
I'm really glad that my mother showed me the roast tomato recipe, but anyways, this has been Cooking with the Cripple. I've been your host, the Cripple, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye!